Hey, what's going on, folks? It is Not Your Average Josh back here for another video, and this time it is to talk about my top 10 most anticipated films of 2025. Now, there may be some films that I'm not aware of that are coming out in 2025. These are just the movies that I personally know about that I went through and compiled this top 10 list for my personal most anticipated. But before I get into this list, as I say at the beginning of every video, I do appreciate anyone who is watching this. This is still a smaller channel, just building it slowly but surely. I appreciate any support I can get. If you want to support this channel, hit that subscribe button. Also leave a like and leave a comment down below. I would like to know what your most anticipated movies of 2025 are as well. So yeah, leave that down below. And also, if you want to see any of my other videos, I have some of my most recent ones down in the description below, or you can just go on my channel and take a look at some of my other vids. But you can also follow me on any of my social media platforms as well as on the screen right now. But let's go ahead and get into this list. And for me, coming in at number 10, it is Captain America: Brave New World. The MCU is definitely in a low point right now. I think since Endgame, it's just been pretty downhill. There's been some bright spots: Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You've got some good moments in shows like Loki Season 2. I personally enjoyed Miss Marvel, I think WandaVision. You've had some bright moments, but had a lot more low moments than the MCU's been used to. It's more of a crapshoot now than it was when you had just the guaranteed consistency that was apparent for the first three phases of this. And so for me, this is at number 10 because I'm interested to see where it goes. I still love anything comic booky. Like, I'm loving Creature Commandos that's out right now. I can't wait for other DCU properties with this James Gunn, a new rebooted universe that he is bringing in terms of that. And so I always going to support both sides of it and really anything that's in the comic book genre. And I'm just really interested in this. Anthony Mackie, I'm hoping that he can really pull off his version of Captain America, now fully putting on the suit and getting into this role. I do have my worries with this film, though, because of some of the stuff you hear where they basically had to put forth about the same amount of money, if not more, to basically shoot a whole new movie than they had originally for this. Harrison Ford being in here as the Red Hulk, I feel like that's kind of overshadowing Anthony Mackie as Captain America, so I'm a little worried about that. Giancarlo Esposito, I heard that he was just added in here when they did all the reshoots, basically shooting a whole new movie, and so I'm just worried that the script and the story is going to be a little too convoluted. I'm hoping it's not going to be. I don't know for sure. I'm just have my worries about this movie now, especially with the issues that the MCU has had. Even when you talk about something like the Blade movie that is probably never going to come out. They just had more and more of these smaller issues that they never really had at the first three phases here. And there's a lot of things you can go into with that, them spreading themselves too thin, especially Kevin Feige and Bob Iger coming back in and taking more control in the last couple of years. I think it's definitely helped, but it's still going to be, I think, kind of hard to really steer the ship back in to the right direction or get close to where they were at like in 2019. I think that it was at such a peak, not just comic book culture, but specifically with the MCU. I think it's honestly going to be hard to ever get back to that. Even when you come out with movies like Secret Wars, I think and some fans are worried that they maybe have jumped the shark already. It was just certain ideas and stuff they've tried to get into, trying to add in too many characters that people don't really care too much about. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now. And so I think this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine was one thing, but that was still more of a separate thing, much like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where it's more of the outlier at this point, where you need to start showing more consistency, especially when you have something like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four coming up this year. You need to start off on the right foot here at the beginning of the year and at least have a good movie. Even if the movie doesn't make a lot of money, doesn't get close to $1 billion or anything like that, you need this to be a good movie and one that the critics and the audience, at least, the main consensus is that it's a positive review. But I'm just hoping it's going to be good. Like I said, Anthony Mackie in here, the other actors they have in this, Harrison Ford in the MCU is exciting. So that is at my number 10, Captain America: Brave New World. At number 9 is one that I just recently found out about, and I think it's supposed to come out in 2025, as far as I know. Is this new updated remake of The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wright. I believe it's starring Glenn Powell, but just the prospect of Edgar Wright directing a Running Man movie, like, that is really interesting. Like, I love Edgar Wright, everything he's ever done. He has such a specific, unique storytelling. He could really provide an interesting perspective and vision with this movie that I'm just really excited to see where it goes. Don't know much about this movie, but it immediately is going to be on my top 10 just because I honestly need to go back and watch The Running Man. It's been since I was like young, since I seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. So I think this could potentially be very exciting. That is at my number 9. And at number 8, I have 28 Years Later. And this movie was another one that I didn't really necessarily know that it was coming out in 2025 until I saw the trailer recently. It was a really damn good trailer. Like, it really got me seeing all them run at them in the town with the crazy moving bodies, and seeing Aaron Taylor Johnson in here. Again, another movie to hopefully get the bad taste of Craven out of the mouth if you're an Aaron Taylor Johnson fan, which I consider myself definitely. He was really good in Nosferatu, and so I'm hoping he can really bring a good element to this movie. And this is a franchise where I need to actually go revisit 28 Weeks Later. I really enjoyed 28 Days Later. One of the really early roles for Cillian Murphy, and just a really well done movie. And so this movie looking pretty good. Like, just, and the fact that I've heard just some of the stuff from behind the scenes that a lot of this movie was shot with an iPhone 15. And that's pretty crazy. Of course, with the budget, you're going to have different enhancements, different tools they can use on set and everything, where it's not just solely relying on the phone. But I think that's just a cool concept in and of itself. And the movie looks beautiful the way it's shot, the tone and atmosphere they're providing, this weird voice that's in the trailer that's like just giving you this like anxiety right around the bat of like just the worry, and like just the putting you in the atmosphere of this world, I think is really cool. So I'm really looking forward to this film. Hopefully it'll be good. You're getting Danny Boyle back here with the directing. I think it's the same writer as well. Also coming back here, Alex Garland, I believe. Excited overall to see where this goes. That is at number 8 for me. And at number 7 is a movie that's coming out here in a couple weeks as I'm recording this video. That's the Leigh Whannell movie, Wolfman. Every time I've seen this trailer in the theaters, it continues to build my excitement for this, really. I love a good werewolf film. I'm really just interested with Leigh Whannell here. I honestly have not seen The Invisible Man that came out a couple years ago, I think around COVID time. I didn't see that movie, but I've heard nothing but positive things about it from pretty much everyone who's talked about it. The trailer really just brought me in. The idea of this family and this the way they're really playing into this sickness and this infection once you're infected and potentially becoming a werewolf. I thought they really captured that in the trailer already really well. The whole darkness and the idea of something hiding in the shadows and really playing on your fear. I thought they really captured that really well in the trailer so far. And so I'm really interested to see where this goes. As I mentioned, love the good werewolf story. And so I'm not too familiar with the cast overall. I know I am familiar enough, like I recognize the faces of the main guy who's in this and the girl who's also his wife in this, but not too familiar with anything else. It seems like it's really more of a limited cast, really following them for the most part, seemingly so in this trailer. So yeah, really interested to see this movie. And that number 6 is another MCU film that I've already mentioned before when I was talking about Captain America, Brave New World, and that is Thunderbolts. This movie is another one where, depending on what happens with Captain America, Brave New World, we might get more of an idea of how well Thunderbolts is going to do at the box office. But I'm really excited for this movie more than Captain America because of the ensemble cast here. I think Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Julia Louis-Dreyfus here as Valentina, Wyatt Russell in here as well as the discount Captain America, bringing Ghost back, Taskmaster. Hopefully they can do a little better job with that character than they did in Black Widow. It seems like they're getting that more of that espionage kind of Winter Soldier vibe a bit with this, along with Captain America. A little bit similar vibes here. This grounded, your street level heroes and or villains. I really think they should focus on that a little bit more than they have been. They've been going a little bit too multiversal and cosmic, where I think it's just taken some of the general audience away from it more than they might have already been with some of the quality dipping anyways. And so I think this is a good 2 movies to start out the year with, and then a nice setup to go into Fantastic Four, which is going to be a little more of that fantastical and cosmic, dealing with a different time period there. I think it'll be a nice switch up once you have these 2 movies come out. I'm just hoping that they're really good. I have pretty high hopes for this movie. I do have my worries, but not as much as Captain America, where you've been hearing some more of the behind the scenes on that movie that provides more worries for me. I just have more of a general worry with this movie, like I do with any MCU film or show nowadays, where I just never know what the quality is going to be like. I don't have that same faith I had in the first 3 phases when I was a young lad coming up and enjoying these films on a more consistent basis. So I'm really interested to see where this goes. I'm hoping it's good. The trailer really did both. I think they dropped like 2 trailers. They both did really well for me personally. Like, I'm on board. I'm really hoping it's going to be good. And so, yeah, it's at number 6 for me. And at number 5 is a movie that is slated as of now to come out the end of 2025, and that is Avatar: Fire and Ash. And I mean, not much to really say of why this is on my list here. James Cameron, I'm not like the biggest Avatar fan. I really enjoyed the first Avatar, really enjoyed Avatar: The Way of Water. I think the fact that that came out so many years later and you still had it make so much money just shows not only the impact of James Cameron as director, but just the fact that people want to go back to this world. And it is one of those movies that truly still drives the attraction and want to go see this shit in 3D. Like, there's no other reason why people want to go out and are rushing to see shit in 3D. Like, that pretty much has gone to the wayside. You saw some people that want to do it. Like, I'll still see on my whatever app I'm on about to go see a movie where there'll still be some 3D options for certain movies where I'm just like, who's actually going to that now? Like, who wants to put on the glasses? Like, the way they can really bring 3D back for sure, this is a little side note, is if they can get the technology where you don't have to wear any glasses, where you can just go into the movie theater and it's going to be 3D and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Because for me personally, I get a headache with the glasses a lot of times, just with any glasses when I first am putting them on, getting used to them. And I don't want to have like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie me being adjusted to that and my head be hurting and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like 3D. But that's more of a side note. With these Avatar movies, I don't give a fuck. I will see this shit in 3D because it is so beautiful. The way the second movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, and even the first movie way back then, the way they just transport you in this world, and the 3D is truly immaculate and beautiful. And yeah, the story overall in both the first two movies are not like overly memorable. They are derivative at certain times, maybe a little too over derivative, but I am pretty connected to the characters. Like, when I watched the movie, I still have not seen the second movie since I saw it in the theater, but it still had a really big impact on me. And that's really hard to do with any movie where I have not seen it since I saw it a couple years ago. But I still, it just left that size of a just impact on me. I think it is really impressive in that way. The way they build this world, and it's all CGI, but it just all feels so tangible and real, and it's only going to probably get better with this next movie. So I'm on board with it. It's at number 5 just for the pure spectacle of cinema. I think this is something that when it comes out, if you're a fan of film at all, you should at least probably go check out, I would say, unless you're just completely not into these movies. I mean, I get that too. I'm not saying you have to absolutely go see it or you're not a movie fan, but you know, it is one of those spectacle things where people just are going to want to go out in droves to see this movie. And if it's good enough, it'll make a whole fuck ton of money again. At my number 4 is coming out here in a few months and is the new Ryan Coogler film, Sinners. This is another one where my anticipation really shot up to the roof when I saw the first trailer for this. I think seeing Michael B. Jordan back here with Ryan Coogler again, I think they're such a good pairing as actor and director. Having Haley Steinfeld in here, I really enjoy her as an actor, whether it's voice acting or live action. A movie about vampires, a period piece as well, somewhere in the 1900s, but earlier on. I honestly don't remember. But very limited knowledge I do have, I'm just on board with this completely. Ryan Coogler is one of those directors where anytime he's coming out with a movie, it's like Jordan Peele or Christopher Nolan now, or as I mentioned, Edgar Wright earlier. There's just certain directors like Quentin Tarantino, like if they're coming out with a movie, I'm going to want to see it pretty much no matter what if it's in theaters. This is just one of those movies, I still don't know too much about it, and I don't think I really need to know much more. Like, a really great trailer that sometimes we don't get enough of nowadays, where it shows you just enough, but not giving away much of anything besides just a little glimpse of what's to come. And with a director like Ryan Coogler, that's all I need. Like, I don't need to see another trailer from this. If another one comes out, I'm sure around the Super Bowl it will, because this movie's coming out in like March, I believe, or maybe even April. It might have been pushed to now, but I'm really excited for this movie because I think it could really be great if done right. And Ryan Coogler is just one of those directors, as I said, who I'm just always looking out for. So that is why it's at my number 4. And at number 3, if you hate the MCU, you're probably not going to like this list, because at number 3, it is Fantastic Four: The First Steps. A little bit of a weird title. I'm not sure what it's going to mean yet, but we'll see once the movie comes out. It is definitely one where it's kind of a little like, first steps. Like, it can mean multiple things. It's around the time of like the moon landing, or it could just be like the first steps of the Fantastic Four coming together as a team. I don't know what it's really going to mean. Maybe them having their kid, first steps. I am just interested to see where this goes. I love the casting here. Pedro Pascal, Ebon Moss-Baccarat, Vanessa Kirby, and Joseph Quinn. I think all four of them are just really great and really interesting for me personally. The casting there as the main four. You're getting to see them on a different universe that's not ours. I think it'll be a nice switch up, especially with Captain America and then Thunderbolts coming out at the beginning of this year. A nice little switch, a little transition, a little freshness into the MCU. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens with this, because it's coming out around the time of another little film that's coming out. There's another comic book movie that should do big numbers, hopefully, if it's really good as well. So it'll be interesting to see how both those movies do. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm just really hoping this is going to be good. Pedro Pascal is one of my favorite actors right now, I think, in general. Fantastic Four, never been really that into them as a team. The old films were fun enough for me. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm was always a huge standout. But other than that, they were pretty all right for the most part. And then I never saw the Fan Four Stick film that came out in like 2014, 2015, or whenever that was. Like, just heard enough bad things about it. I just never really saw it. So, you know, we'll see what this one does. I'm pretty excited. I think just going in a different direction, seeing a different part of Marvel, hopefully getting this Fantastic Four story right. That's really where my main hopes lie. And with Matt Shakman directing this, I bet he did a great job with WandaVision. That's where my hopes get raised a lot with this, because one of the issues I think the MCU has had over these phases, starting in phase 4 and on, is they brought in some directors for these different movies, like for the Eternals or for the Marvels, and I just feel like they're directors where they're really giving them a chance, but they're not necessarily that proven yet, and then you have studio interference, and the movies just end up not being as good as they maybe could be, along with just the writing and everything just not being well done in general anyway. But I think when you have someone like Matt Shakman, who's proven himself in Marvel already with WandaVision, there's more, I think, hope, and you can see, hopefully, his perspective will shine through, and that hopefully there'll be a good movie come out of this. So my hopes are high with this. That's why it's up there, my most anticipated, as I mentioned. A lot of these on the list are going to be more comic book leading, because I do still truly just love any type of comic book movie, TV show. Again, trying to get more into comics as well and read them as much as I can, but we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, definitely up there high for me. My number 2 on this list is now going to the DCU. For you people that maybe hate on Marvel or not liking my list so far, because I have 3 Marvel films in here, I'm going to put Superman in here at number 2. I think it's just pretty impossible not to have this up here at the top 2, because just so much of the DCU relies on this movie at this point. Like, if this movie is not good, the James Gunn whole vision of this is pretty much a failure on arrival. So I think no matter how much money this movie makes, this movie needs to be really good. I really enjoyed the trailer that came out about a week or 2 ago, or whenever it was at this point. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. I think David Cornswet looks really good at Superman. The way the trailer just starts, darker than I thought it was, with him landing and bleeding and then having Crypto come and carry him away. You immediately get that hope. And there's so much hope in this trailer that I really want to see more of with Superman. I enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman in the DCEU. I thought overall the DCEU wasn't that well done. They tried to rush things, tried to keep up with Marvel, and they should have been trying to do more of their own thing, just focus on making things really good in their universe and not be looking over the fence so much. I really enjoy the Christopher Reeve Superman more personally. I've never been a huge Superman guy. Batman's always been my favorite when it comes to the DC universe. I love the Batman animated series, the Dark Knight trilogy. I love the Michael Keaton Batman films. Batman is just so awesome to me, and I love the darkness there. And I think it just is hard to write a Superman story, and that is where my hopes do lie, and my excitement starts to build with this, because I thought this trailer just did a lot of good in showing what James Gunn can bring to this story and to this character. And I also really love that we're not getting another Superman origin story. Like, we're starting off where he is already Superman. All these other characters are already around. Like, we don't need to see that over and over again. The same thing with Batman. Like, we don't need to see the pearl clutching scene in the alley again. Everyone pretty much knows. If you're familiar with Batman in any way, you know that story now. You know how his parents died. Same with Superman. Like, you know, he came from Krypton. He is now on this planet. He was raised by Ma and Pa Kent. Like, you know that main story now. Like, let's go ahead and get into where he's already a fully formed adult. And we'll see what they do with him working at Daily Bugle. I thought David Cornswet just looks so good as Clark, and then when he has the look of Superman, it really does feel like two different characters. Just a trailer here, but basically just explaining why I have really high hopes for this movie. And with James Gunn, I think it's just hard to doubt him. He's similar like James Cameron, not on like the huge spectacle. I don't want to put him on that type of pedestal, like with how much box office success he has. But I think James Gunn, he puts his passion into projects, and he seems to always get it right. Even if it's not perfect, he somehow gets right. Even something like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which a lot of people would say is like the weaker of the Guardians films, I think that is still a really well done film, and that is really one of his weaker films, really. And like what he did with the Suicide Squad, I think in the Peacemaker, like, and what he's doing right now with Creature Commandos, I think he is juggling a lot of plates, and that's where I think some of the worry comes in for people, where they feel like maybe he's just going to be handling a little too much at a certain point. But I think overall, I have high hopes for this. James Gunn is just a really good director, and I think he's putting his all into this movie and trying to make it the best that it can be. And so I am really excited for this movie, coming out right around Fantastic Four. And so we'll see how both these movies end up doing financially, and critics and audience. We'll see what their response is like. But yeah, this one had to be up there. I think it is the true kickoff to this DCU. This is like a key moment in DC as a whole. Like, where are they going to be in the next 5 years? Like, this movie is such a huge moment. And if you're a comic book fan at all, movies, TV shows, you love the comics, like, I think this is just going to be an event to see. And I'm really hoping that it brings more of that life back to Superman for me personally, like Christopher Reeve, the Superman that I enjoy the most personally. But that is my number 2. And going for number 1, it is a movie. If you saw my favorite movies of the year list and you heard me talk about a certain movie, you probably might have an idea of what this one will be. And that is Wicked Part 2, or as I believe the title is now, Wicked for Good. I really love the first Wicked movie. I think the music in it, the acting, the choreography with the music, all the technical aspects, the production design, whether it was the practical sets mixed with the CGI, everything within the story hit me in such a nice way. I thought Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande are so well in that movie. It's just a really great movie to me, and I'm just so interested. Basically ended off at the halfway point of what the Broadway musical is. And so I'm just so interested to see where this story goes. I think it ended on such a powerful note. I bought into the friendship that Galinda and Elphaba end up having in this, while also understanding why they had their differences at the beginning of this movie. And just every little musical number is just so catchy. What is this feeling, to Popular, to Dancing Through Life, to the opening number, No One Mourns the Wicked. I thought it's just such a great way to open the film. Love like almost every moment about the first Wicked movie. So I'm just looking forward to this second one so much. I'm hoping it'll be at least close to what this first one was for me, but my anticipation is as high as it could be. And so there is a chance for disappointment there, but I have all the faith. Same director coming back, Steven Schwartz, he was the one involved with the musical and the choreography there. He did a really good job of bringing the musical to the screen. As someone who I've never been to the Broadway musical, so I can't have my perspective when it comes to that, but I just really love this movie. I thought it was such a great adaptation, and it's just been on my mind ever since I first saw it, and I just love it. It brings joy to my heart while also bringing that emotion. Wicked for Good, Wicked Part 2, whatever you're going to call it, that is my number 1 for next year. I cannot wait for that film. I will be waiting patiently all year for it to come out. But yes, that is my list of top 10 most anticipated films of 2025. What is your thoughts on that? What are your films that you're most looking forward to this coming year? Leave a comment down below. And also, if you want to support my channel any further, you can hit the subscribe button as well, and also hit that like button. And you can follow me on any of my social media platforms that is also on the screen at this time. If you're looking for more videos very soon, I will be coming out with my What If Season 3 review. That video should be coming out pretty soon after this drops. But I appreciate anyone who's watching this. That'll be it for now, and I will talk to you guys later.